Kitchensmith. This week we're going to do one more portable, easy breakfast. I've had a lot of requests for that this week. So this week we're going to do actually two variations of kind of the same thing. We're going to start off with one that's a little bit more healthy and more protein packed, and then we're going to do one that's still just, it's still healthy but not quite as protein packed. So for our first recipe that we're doing, these are called egg cups. I cook them in a muffin tin, and it makes them really easy, portable, on the go. You can eat them just plain. You can eat them in between, sandwich thins or English muffins. This is just an easy way to get you ready for the week, because you can make 12 at one time and then refrigerate them and then hand them as you're going out the door. So the first one that we're doing is a mostly egg white and kale with a little bit of feta cheese. And then the second one that we're going to do is going to be an egg, Canadian bacon, and cheddar mozzarella mix. So let's get started. This recipe calls for a whole container of egg whites. You can use whatever kind of egg whites you want. I use these ones because they're economical and they taste great. Now this recipe is a recipe that I had read someplace and then I twisted it to make it my own. So it's kind of a based on. Now the recipe that I had read used a container of ricotta cheese. Now ricotta cheese I do like, but it tends to be a little bit salty for me and doesn't have as high of a protein content as cottage cheese. So in order to make the cottage cheese more ricotta-like consistency, I just stuck it in here and then took my wand blender and blended it up so that it has a really creamy, thick consistency. So we'll be using an entire container in with that container of egg whites. And in this batch I have also added 2 full eggs. So 1 container of egg whites, 2 full eggs, and a container of cottage cheese that has been whizzed up. I'm going to mix that all together. And then I have here a half a teaspoon of granulated garlic and a half a teaspoon of powdered onion. I find I kind of like the powdered better than putting in the fresh, because the fresh cannot sometimes it doesn't get as cooked, and then it has a weird consistency in the eggs. This will just give it a nice flavor. And then this is kosher salt, so I'm going to do a sprinkle of that. And a couple twists of black pepper. Now, we're making kale eggs today. I've seen recipes where people drop the kale right into the egg mixture, but I find that kind of makes the eggs a wonky color, and it's not very appealing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our muffin tins. I'm going to fill them about 1/3 of the way full. I'm going to place the kale on top of that, put a few little granules of feta cheese, and then we'll top the rest of it with more eggs. All right, we're halfway there. So I have about 1/3 of a cup of the egg mixture in each one of the muffin tins, and then I've topped each one of those with some sauteed kale. Now I love kale. This is what I used. I used this baby kale. It is full of vitamins, excellent source of vitamin K, which is a vitamin that we don't often get in our food sources. So vitamin K for this kale is awesome. Now the kale, I basically just took a big pot. I put in about 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. I filled the pot up with the kale, as much as I could get into it. Turned the heat on, I let it wilt down, and then I added a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika and a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. When my kale wilted down, I added 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar to finish it off, and then a couple twists of cracked black pepper, just to give it some really good flavor. Egg whites can be a little bland, so this will give the egg whites a really good pop of flavor and a really good pop of nutrition. Now I'm going to take some feta cheese. I'm going to sprinkle a few little bits of feta on top of each one of these, and then cover the whole thing with a little bit more of the egg white mixture before we pop it into a 350-degree oven. Alright friends, version 2. Now the first version is more for me and my husband. As much as I would love to say that my kids love kale and eat it, they won't touch it. So this is my kids' favorite. I did not use egg whites on this one. I used full whole eggs. I think that they need the extra nutrition anyways, so there are 12 eggs in this bowl. And to that, I am going to add 12 slices of Canadian bacon, which I've chopped up into little pieces. I'm also going to add 1 cup of cheese. This is a cheese mixture. It is cheddar and Monterey Jack cheese. And 1 cup is plenty. It makes them very, very cheesy. And like with the other one, I like granulated spices a little bit better. This is a half a teaspoon of granulated garlic and a 1/4 teaspoon of granulated onion powder. And then here's my secret ingredient for these ones. I put in a 1/4 teaspoon of ground mustard. Now you can't taste it. It doesn't give it a sharp mustardy flavor, but it kind of brightens the eggs, especially with the Canadian bacon. It kind of just pulls it all together. So it makes it a really just super good egg mixture. Again, some kosher salt. I try to keep the salt to a minimum on this one, not as much as I would put into the other one because the Canadian bacon can be really salty. A couple grinds of black pepper, not too much. Again, my kids eat with their eyes, and so if they see little chunks of things in there, they're not going to eat it. And then this one you just mix all together as well. And we're going to do the same thing. We'll ladle it into a muffin tin that's been very well greased with some cooking spray along the top as well as in each cup. And then we'll be putting both versions in the oven. Alright, easy peasy prep time. These are ready to go. It really only took a couple of minutes to pull these together. Both of these are ready to go in the oven. This one's the egg white, kale, and feta. This one is the whole egg, Canadian bacon, and cheddar version. These both need to bake about the same time in a 350-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. You'll want to keep your eye on them a little bit, but it should be about that time frame, and then they're done. If you have any extras left over that didn't fit in the muffin tin, then you've already got an easy peasy made lunch for yourself. But these will be done, and then all you have to do is portion them out for your family. They do freeze okay, so if you need to freeze them, but they will last a week in the refrigerator. So they're ready to go in the oven, and when they're done, we'll give them a test out. Okay friends, here they are. They've been in the oven, in my oven, 22 minutes. Here are the Canadian bacon and cheddar ones. Now these ones are all eggs, so they puff up and they stay puffed. These are the egg white ones, so they puff up and then they kind of fall in on themselves once you take them out of the oven. We're going to give this a little bit of a taste test though. Come out pretty well. And typically for a serving size on these, I would say 2 muffins is good for an adult. My children will probably only eat 1 of these ones for breakfast or at any given point in time. But these are great to send to work, like I said, or you could eat them with English muffin and make sort of like a sandwich with them. You have a lot of different options on that. And just so you know, these are just kind of use these as a blank canvas for yourself. If you like the idea of the egg whites with the whizzed up cottage cheese, but you're not a fan of kale, maybe spinach or Swiss chard or maybe some steamed broccoli. You could do so many different things with these. Just give yourself some time to think about it. What's going to be good for you, or what you might have in the fridge that might need to be used up for the week. So these, just consider them a blank canvas that you can add to at will. And I tried to give you the 2 different versions so you'd have, egg whites, and if you have the cottage cheese, go for it. If you only have eggs, great, go for this one. But these are easy, they're portable. It's just one less thing you have to do when you're getting ready to go to work in the morning or getting kids ready to get off to school. Just one less thing that you have to think about. You just know automatically that you have a good, healthy, protein-packed breakfast to eat. So let's give this a try. Super good. The kale really gives it a really nice punch. The crushed red pepper that I put in with the kale when I was sauteing it gives it just a nice bite. And then the salty feta just finishes it perfectly. Super good. So this is easy. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you so much for watching. See you next week.